Welcome back to this Cloud's Garage. In this video I'll show you how to use a spring compressor to take these springs off these struts. This particular strut is from a 2006 Acura TSX. I'm just going to put this on the vise, clamp it down. And I'm going to use this clamshell type of spring compressor. Now be very, very careful when using this because you can get injured with this. This is very dangerous, so be very, very careful. Also, when changing when changing struts, make sure you buy them in pairs. It's very important. This could be adjusted for different types of coil springs. And also this particular one, you have little locks here. And you turn this screw over here to actually compress the spring. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now the screw should always be pointed the same direction as the strut. So it should be like this. Alright, so let's do this. The first one has to go on top. So you put the first one in over here. Then what I like to do is turn this around until you go all the way to the top. Go ahead and put this side in. Now put the bottom in. What you gotta do is just gotta move it around until it goes in. And now you can move this around again. Let me turn the whole strut. Alright, so that's what you want it to look like. Now the key here is you can just turn this around to grab the coils. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead now and tighten this down. Now to tighten this down, you have to turn this piece right here and it'll bottom out against those nuts over there. Those pair of nuts. So to tighten this down, you have to go counterclockwise. To loosen it, you go clockwise. Make sure the nuts are up against each other and go ahead and tighten this down. One thing also to remember, put a face shield on because you don't want stuff flying off, tool breaking, and hitting you in the face and messing up that pretty face of yours. Also, one more thing, which I already did, you could spray some WD-40 on the big screw threaded rod in the middle, and go short bursts. So that's loose in there. You see it opened up over here. So you go ahead now and take the top off. That's a 14mm on this one. You can hold the shaft in here with a vice grip, or this one has an Allen. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a wrench on it. This particular one is a 3/16 Allen. So I just put a wrench on it. And of course, it's stripped. So I'm gonna have to put a vice grip in there. Now you put your vice grip in there to hold the shaft. It's all about holding the shaft. Now you can go ahead and turn that nut out, back it out. And don't do that. The nut just fell out, that's all. No biggie. And that's how you take it out if you strip the Allen hole on top. Now before you do this, you could either mark everything down with some whiteout, mark the cap, the spring, and the bottom piece over here. But if you forget to do that, I'll show you how to do it without marking it. I just want to mention one more way I like to do this, but it's very dangerous. Use extra caution when doing it this way. Once you have everything on here, when you take it out of the car, the springs on here, the mount and everything, just put the spring compressor on the spring, but don't tighten it down as to relieve the stress off the mount on top. Just have it there, a little snug, but you still want that tension on there. And that'll act as a safety net just in case something does go wrong and it'll catch that spring before it pops out. So once you do that, you go over here and go with a wrench. Don't go with the impact gun because you won't know how far out it's going to go. Go with the wrench and back off this lock nut, maybe a couple of threads. Once you do that, the reason for doing that is just to get it unstuck from the shaft over here. So afterwards, once you do actually compress the spring, this will impact off very easily because it's already loose. And you can also go, some shafts over here have an Allen like this one, so you could put an Allen in there, then you use your wrench to back that off. Or some of them have like a little tab over here, you use a crescent wrench to grab it so the shaft won't spin. So that's just another way of doing this. Again, use extreme caution. Alright, now that I took the top nut off, you could go ahead and take this off. Now, if you don't mark it, like I said, there's a little index here, there's a little groove here. That's where this coil piece goes, the end of it goes right there. So if you don't mark it, it's fine, it's not a problem. And over here, you have a washer, a bushing. So this gets sandwiched with a bushing, and there's a metal piece in there. So let me go ahead and take that out too. Now over here, there's a little slot here. It's like a spacer. So just put some WD-40 on it. You're gonna have to start whacking that loose. Now you could also go ahead and take this off. Now be careful, this is, so be very careful with that. That's under extreme pressure. So put that somewhere where it's not going to do any damage. Now over here is a little slot, a slit, whatever you want to call it. I like slits. So this is rusted on there, so you're going to have to actually whack it a couple times. The new strut comes with one of these. So it's okay to go ahead and ruin this one, just to take it off. Let the WD-40 work in there and just work it out. What a pain in the ass. That thing was frozen on there.
Okay.
Gotta whack it like a man. Of course, that doesn't want to come out either. Everything on this strut is rusted solid. Remember, when something doesn't want to come out, you manhandle it. Alright, now you take the bump stop, the rubber boot, and this gets indexed too. That's where, if you look over here, that's where the coil goes, of the spring. So I'm going to take this out and put the new spring, the new strut on here, and finish assembling this. Alright guys, now I have a new shock on here. You put this rubber insulator in, you can see it angles over there. You put it with the angle over here. So you line that up like that. It's the old insulator. I'm pretty much going to show you how to put everything back on this example, but make sure you put everything in line so you know how everything goes back on. Then goes the rubber bumper. Put that in. Then goes this washer with the protrusion down, like that. Then comes this. Then goes a washer. Then you put the boot over this thing, just like that. Next thing you do here is put the spacer and the bushing on. Make sure the protrusion on the bushing goes upwards, like that. Then when you put the spring in and you put this on top of it, make sure you put the bushing on top, the protrusion in the bottom. Then put the washer and lock that on top. So I'm going to go ahead now and put the spring back on. Now remember, this coil piece goes right here, butts up against that. So it's going to go just like that. Okay. And now over here, you can put this on. Just like that. The rubber bushing goes right onto the spacer. You push it in. Push it in, baby. And now over here, remember how I said there's a index here? So you want that to go where the coil ends over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it with whiteout. So I know where it is. It's right here. So you can properly index that. So now you go ahead and actually before you do that, you can also thread in the top nut. This on top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to decompress this and it's going to put some tension on this, so I can go ahead and tighten that down. So I'm going to go ahead now and loosen this. Now loosen this, you're actually going clockwise. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now when you're almost up there, now you can align it. And make sure the bottom is also aligned. Right there. Right there. And the top, align it where the mark is to that last coil. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Again. And we're good there, and we're also good there. Right there. Now I'm going to try and tighten that down. Good. I'm going to go ahead and take this off completely. And you can take the tool out. And that completes your spring installation on your strut. So now I'll go ahead and put it on the car. Subscribe to my channel, you know you want to. Also, down the bottom, you can do a bunch of things to me. Either like me, share me, or whatever you want. There's plenty of content to go around. Thanks for watching, and toodles!